You have to enable participant screen sharing.
Oh, sure.
We have a much larger crew than I thought.
Are people still logging in?
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good morning. Okay, let's try that again. Good morning, this is Joel from Plum Creek. If everybody would go around and introduce themselves, we can get started. You're muted.
Sorry, I don't do this very often.
Okay.
I'm Clarinda Loving and I work at Pipestone Middle School, High School.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, hi, I'm Barb from Plum Creek and I'm the cataloger.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm in Hendricks at the school.
Okay, Ashley, I've got two screens for you here.
Okay.
And
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hoffman from Plum Creek.
Annalie Pleats from Westbrook Walnut Grove Elementary.
Kristen Groen from Edgerton Public Library School.
And I think we have Sandy yet. Okay. Okay, to get started, and did everybody receive or get a chance to look at the instructions I sent out yesterday?
Yes.
And let me,
I don't think I got them. Hold on. I didn't receive them. I apologize.
okay, are you librarian at, was it Ivanhoe?
No, Pipestone Middle
Oh,
School,
I'm
High
sorry.
School.
Oh, yeah, I do not have your email.
Okay. It's my first name,
Okay, hang on. Right back.
lost my Zoom screen. Hold on. There we go. It's Clarinda, CLARINDA, just like the town in Iowa. Dot loving, LOVING, at P like Paul, AS dot K12 dot MN dot US.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I had to go grab a pen.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Clarinda, CLARINDA dot
Okay.
loving, LOVING,
Okay,
at PAS dot K12 dot MN dot US.
okay, let me just take a minute and get that to you,
Okay.
because then you can all follow along with. Okay, it's on its way.
Okay.
Okay, getting started here. Most of you have seen this before, but this is the login screen. And if you don't have this link bookmarked, it's on the instructions on the first page there. So we're going to log in, and we're not going to save that. And this is your home page. This is where you'll start from every time you log in. And I'll start by pointing out this basically is your multi-purpose toolbar. You can do all kinds of functions through this. And for example, if you log in and you want to start checking out right away, go ahead and type in or scan in your patron's barcode, or you can type their name in. And even a partial name, it will give you a list of results to choose from. So to illustrate that, it's giving me everything that contains those 5 letters, which is all these people, but it includes larger names like this Kleinfosser. So from this bar, you can check out, you can check items in, you can renew items, you can search patrons, and you can search the catalog. And you can search by, it's basically a keyword search, but you can also use it to search with a barcode if you want to find a specific item. So moving forward, most of your time is going to be spent in this circulation screen here. And once again, we have our checkout, check-in, renew, and we have our holds queue and the holds awaiting pickup. We'll discuss those a little bit later. We have a transfer menu here. And this thing, just ignore this part. We never use that particular function. So I'm going to on this, and I'm going to check out to one of my test patrons here. When you actually scan a barcode in, it will go to this checkout screen. I went from a patron search, so it went to the details screen. Before we check out a book, we're going to kind of go through all the things on this screen. Starting over here, here's the summary of your patron's information, address, phone number, email, which library they belong to, what patron type they are. And going down these, again, this is going to be where you're mainly working from, is the checkout. This next one, we'll save that one for a little bit later. The other big one is the details page. This is where all the information about your patron is stored. And you can edit the entire page with this button, or you can edit individual sections by this button here. And I'm going to click the edit button because when we go through adding a patron, this is basically the screen you're going to see when you add a patron, and you'll start typing information in. And of course, if you change anything about your patron, information, here's the save button, and that will follow you down the screen. Okay. So those are the two main things you're going to be working with, the checkout and the details. Then across the top here, we've already used the edit button. That's to edit the entire patron record, all of the information in there. This add guarantee, this is something you're probably not going to use in the school, because that's basically adding a child to an adult account. Here's one you may not use much either, is to change the password to someone's account, because you're generally, your students aren't logging into their accounts online. This one is handy. What this does is it will duplicate most of the information. So if you're adding like a members of a family, if you hit that duplicate, it will keep the last name and the address and the other information, but it will still ask you for the individual's first name, their date of birth. And so that's a handy one to save you from typing all this stuff in again. Oh, now we're back to details. I'm not sure that any of you are using the receipt printing function. I don't think so. So we're gonna skip over that one. Search to hold, in the hold section, we will go over that, but basically what this does is it gives you a link when you're going to place a hold directly to this patron, rather than having to scan their barcode in when it asks for the patron. Now add message, that's kind of the same thing right here. And we'll go through that too. This is basically this is adding a message to either yourself to remind yourself something about a patron, or to other library staff people about a patron. You know, it can be anything like they left their keys behind or something like that, or, you know, that this person doesn't return their books on time. Just whatever you think that everybody should know on the staff side. Now on this one, the more button, really the only thing you will likely use is this renew patron. Right now, patrons, when they're signed up, their cards last for 3 years. And then they need to be renewed. So in the school system, you know, if you have a long time student, at some point their card will need to be renewed. And this other one here is to delete a patron. And that, you know, if you have kids graduating, things like that, or that you know have already left the school system, you can delete their account using that. So here is our checkout box. This is where stuff happens. So the big deal with checking things out is you scan the barcode into here. And in case any of you run into this the first time you log in, it doesn't want to show you the checkouts. If you click that, always show checkouts, then it will show you everything. And these are arranged newest checkout to oldest checkout. So in this case, I've checked both of these out today, but this one shows us earlier. So on this screen, we're going to go through what's happening here. Okay. The first column here is the due date. And in this case, I've got things set for a single day, or not even, it's for the same day. The next is the title of the item, and that will include your barcode for the individual item. And then your item type, which in this case is a book. And then we'll have things, CDs, DVDs, all kinds of different items. But mostly I'm sure you'll be dealing with books in the schools. And again, your item type. And I'll make a quick reference to circulation rules. The item type here is what determines the circulation rule, or in other words, how long an item is checked out. So for example, a book in this case is checked out for a day. Generally yours, I believe, are set to a week or 2 weeks. This next one is the shelving location. And you've got a list of those for your library that you can choose. And most of your items are already arranged in those shelving locations. Here's the home library that the book belongs to. And in some cases, when you're doing interlibrary loan from other libraries, this will show that library that owns that item. And this, of course, will be when it's checked out. And this will be where it's checked out from, and that will be your library. And we have your call number. Over here, what we have, the big one to pay attention to is the cost. This is the replacement price of the item. if it's lost or anything else. And over here we have renew. So if you would want to renew these books, you would click these boxes. And in parentheses, this will tell how many renewals are remaining, and that's set by your CERT rules too. You can have one renewal, 2 renewal, according to your CERT rules. And in order to renew those, once you click those, then you click renew or check in selected items. Now over here is the check-in box. I recommend not really using that. Rather, we'll go over the method of checking items in, because this can be confusing sometimes. Now, if these say 0 of 1 renewals remaining, you can override the renewal restriction here. And then if you want to renew everything on the record, you just click the renew all. So we're going to stop for a minute. Are there any questions, comments?
On the renew all button, do I need to highlight the squares or boxes under renew before I hit that renew all?
Nope.
Okay.
And see, now it's going to show as not renewable. So in order to renew these another time, we would need to use that override. Then it will give us that box back.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll go over these. Well, we'll go back to the checkout box first. Of course, this is where we scan our items in. With your barcode scanner, you usually don't need to hit the checkout button because it'll have a carriage return programmed into it already. In case you have to manually enter a number, then you would need to use that. Under checkout settings, that to open up here. What this is for is if you need to specify a different due date than what your CERT rules would give this checkout. In this case, if I wanted it to be 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I click on here and choose the date I want it to be due. Or another use for this would be at the end of this, when you're approaching the end of the school year, you can give a hard due date that everything has to be back to the school by, a date before school closes for the summer. You can do this. This will remember this date for each transaction you do afterwards until you log out. I guess at the end of the school year, I would say to use that. Otherwise, I would not, if you're just doing a custom due date for a single patron or student. This you can ignore. We do not do automatic renewals at all in our system. And this little box right here will show you the last item you checked out. I know there are other libraries that use Koha that requested this. I'm a little fuzzy on why, since you would see that right here as well. And moving on to these tabs here, obviously we're in the checkouts. We have 2 checkouts. This column button, this is for if you would like to remove or make columns not visible. If there's something here you don't need to see, maybe one of these, you should leave most of these on here because you're going to need that information. But this is what this columns thing is for, is to hide certain columns. You can export this, their checkouts, to like an Excel or a comma separated values. Most commonly, you're going to export probably to Excel. You can also sort this by the number of items, the number of checkouts by item type. Now, Obviously, we only have 2 books here, but if you had different item types, this would list the total number of items that are checked out. Now, the next one here is for what that patron has for holds. And in this case, I have an item on hold. We're going to go through this a little bit more when we place holds. But again, this is the date that the hold was placed. This is the item. You can go to the item. Anything that's blue like this is a link. So if I want to see the item record for this item, I can simply right-click it and open a new tab. And as far as Koha goes, you can open a number of tabs here, obviously within reason, but you know, when you're doing different functions, you can have different tabs open. In this case, this is taking me directly, since we're on the holds menu here, this has taken me directly to the holds for the item. And we will go through this in the hold section as well. This is the normal view of the item. And what we're interested in here is the holdings. That's who has these items. And we'll take a look at something where multiple libraries own things. But in this case, Plum Creek Library is the only location with a copy of this item. Claims returned, that would be something that I know most of you do not have fines. I believe there is one school that does have fines. What this is used for is if a student would come in and say, oh, I returned that book, it's overdue. And they say, well, I returned that. Well, you aren't able to find it. So you can enter this into the claims returned. And we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. Restrictions. You may or probably won't have a lot of occasion to use this, but what this is something that restricts their account. And what that means is they won't be able to check anything out. Now you can do this manually, which is probably the only time you would do this, because we don't have any automatic triggered restrictions. But if for some reason you need to keep a patron or a student from checking out, comment why, and you can do it for a certain amount of time. And you would simply then add the restriction. And then you would manually need to remove the restriction. Let's just do one. Hurry up quick here. Okay, now this is what it looks like if their account is restricted. You'll see this in red. And a lot of things are color coded. And in this case, red means, you know, there's an issue with the account. You can view the restriction. Here's the reason. And if necessary, you can temporarily override the restriction. In this case, we're going to view that restriction and we're going to remove it. Okay, we're going to stop for a minute and questions, comments?
I have some questions about fines.
Okay.
So hard because I've got students that don't go here anymore, that have books checked out that are lost.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do about that because the students aren't here anymore. The families don't even live here anymore. And I don't know how to get it just to go away. Like I obviously want to replace them and make sure the school gets money, but I don't know what to do in the computer portion of it because it's kind of at a standstill.
We're gonna do some, we're gonna look at fines in a little bit. So we'll take a look at that issue when we get there. You're kind of hard to hear too. Ashley.
I don't know how good the speaker is on my Chromebook. It might
Okay.
be very good.
One other thing I'll point out quickly is these notes and messages. Notes, you're probably not going to use much, but the messages is the really important one. If you want to leave a message, go ahead and click that and just leave this staff internal note and leave that select note and then enter your message. And then hit save. Now, the nice thing about messages versus notes here is messages will show when this message was placed, where, and the user that placed it. And again, we can delete that here. Once everything's been satisfied about this message, you can simply hit delete. But please make sure that, particularly if it's left by a different library, that whatever the condition is has been satisfied before you delete it. In most cases, if something's left by another library, unless it's a specific task, I would say just leave it. You'll get, are you sure? Yep, we're sure. And that takes us to the details page. You'll see messages in here on the details page up here too. Our message is gone. Okay. And something else to point out, this here is our breadcrumb trail. So it will take us all the way down. You know, we started out at home, and then we went to circulation, and then we went to checkout, and then we went to this patron. So this, if you ever need to go back to circulation, or if you need to go back to home, here's your trail. And again, anything that's in blue like this is a clickable link. Okay, so we're going to move on to checking in books, and this one's pretty easy. And once again, you can, if you're, one quick thing I forgot to add here is when you're done with a patron, to clear your screen, and also if it's visible or whatever, this red X will clear your screen so that patron's information is no longer visible. You know, now you can, you don't have to worry about someone else, you know, seeing what's on the information, because now you're basically back to checkouts. And we'll use the back button. It's this red X right here. And we'll use that again. And now we're going to check in. Now we can check in here, or otherwise on our circulation homepage. And once again, we just scan that in. Now, each item you check in will show in this table. And again, in this column, we have the due date, title, author, the item barcode, and again, a clickable link. So if you need to go to the item record, and in this case, this takes you to things you would need to change about your copy of that particular item. And again, the home library, in case this is a transfer, this will say where it's going to. Shelving location, call number, this is the date acquired, this is the date that this item was added to the catalog. Again, we're a book, our collection code. Basically, that's broken down into adult, juvenile, young adult categories. This is the last patron that had it. And then if there's a note, in this case, this is a note. And when we're doing patrons, we'll go over notes because that's where you would add either like this would be considered a circulation note. Again, we have the columns if there's something that needs to be hidden. Again, here, I don't think there is. You can also export this list to Excel. Now we have check-in settings. If you need to make this date a different date than the date it is that you're scanning them in, you can do that. Again, most of you do not have overdues charges, so that's not a big deal. In the book drop mode, that's related to overdue charges. And if you need to remember this date for the next check-in, now this is giving me a warning, and you'll have pop-ups in this pale yellow color that will show you different information about a book. In this case, this was just giving us the reminder that we didn't put a date in here. Now, if we just see another reminder, I'm going to check in a different item, and this item is not checked out. I didn't know this one was on a hold. Oh, we're going to go through holds. So that's when, but this is a pop-up that you're going to see if an item is on hold for a patron. But this message you're going to see regardless. It will list several messages, whatever's pertinent to the item. In this case, this item was not checked out, so I'm getting this alert that I've scanned it, but it's not checked out. What that means is it's thinking you're checking in something that is checked out. We're just going to ignore that for the moment. And again, we see this here not checked out. And what I will say with that, if you need to know the status of an item, you're not actually checking it in, you just want to check on the item itself, use the search, the catalog, because that will take us to the item record here. And then you can check the status. In this case, this one is available. So that's pretty much all there is to checking in. Are there any questions? Okay, we're going to go back to this account. Whenever you click on their name or something like that, it's going to take you to that details page about their information. So we've already kind of gone over renewing books. In this case, we've renewed it already. It's not renewable. If we were to need to do that again, we would need to override that renewal restriction. And in this case, it's one item, so you don't need to check the box, just hit renew all. But if it's individual items that you need to renew, then you'll need to check that box. You can also use this button up here to renew. And this one will respect any restrictions on that renewal. And that brings me to something important here. if you see in blue here, it will say on hold. That means the item is on hold, and the system is set up, and Plum Creek is set up that if an item is on hold for another patron, you cannot renew it. The item must be checked in and sent on to whoever has a hold on it. That's pretty much the way we operate, and that's to once again get as many people that item in as little time as possible. So if you see on hold in blue here, that means that you cannot renew it. Okay. And that brings us to placing holds. Now, there are two ways to place a hold in Koha. One way is, and I'm going to open up a new tab here. We're going to search the basic search, and this illustrates how this changes as we go to different sections. In this case, I no longer have a search the catalog for this multi-purpose bar. That's because I'm in the advanced search. Now, in the advanced search, I have to juggle this Zoom window around here. To do an advanced search, every search defaults to a keyword, and that's what search patrons here, that's what your search the catalog here, that's what you're going to do by doing that. If you need to do a search by other criteria, those are available. You can also, in advanced search, you can limit by the collection code, the shelving locations. We have a lot of shelving locations, or the item type. And in this case, we can see some item types have images associated with them, some do not. Here you're into, if you need to look for something that was published in a certain year, if you need a language to search in a language. Again, our catalog is in English, and so I doubt you'll need to do a language search. Subtypes, the audience, those are contained in the actual record of the book, and we're not going to go over that here. The other important thing is if you need to limit by a library, if you know somewhere, or if you want to, excuse me, if you want to limit by individual library where you're searching. We do have groups of libraries too. These are the county libraries that have branches. So if we search Jackson County Libraries, that would be Jackson, Lakefield, and Heron Lake. We'd be searching all of those at the same time. And then, of course, how you want it sorted. Default is relevance, which is usually good. But we're just going to do a simple search, a keyword search from this screen right here. So I'm going to search for something that I have a copy of here. Okay, and here are your search results. And this will list anything that matches in the title. In this case, this is a part of the title that will be highlighted. Again, any words that I've included in my search will be highlighted here. The rest of these fall into cloud is entered in there, you know, as part of these records in some spot, which is why it's returning those results. I'll go over these facets here. You have a lot of choices here. You can, you know, limit that search to whatever is available to check out now or to place a hold on. Well, scratch that last part, whatever's currently available for checkout. You can limit by author, collection code, the home or the owning library, or the item type, or the shelving location. And again, we have a lot of shelving locations. We have some series, places where I assume this is where things take place, obviously topics, and titles. And so if we want to, let's say we know this is the item that we want right here. Now we have some, again, I have to move this guy out of the way here. Let's move it over here. Okay, this is the item record, or the title record. And here are the items that are listed, and it will give you their status as well. And once again, we are looking for this item. And if we go over here in the location column, this will say, well, Plum Creek owns a copy, but it's not available right now because it is checked out. In the case of this second book here, we can see that Jackson County owns a copy, and it is available for checkout. So if I were to use this to limit this to currently available items, this item number 1 here would be taken out because it's not currently available. Now we can place a hold directly from this screen. We can go, if we know this is the item we want without, you know, looking further into it, we can place a hold right here. And again, we are placing a hold from a search, so we would need to enter the patron's barcode or name in this case that we want to place this hold for. And I'm going to use a name. And this brings us to our hold screen. And in Koha, there are 2 types of holds you can do. There is a next available hold, which means whatever copy, you know, if there are multiple copies in the system, this will place a hold on the next available one that's available for checkout. In this case, by default, it goes to next available. The other type of hold is an item specific. So let's say there were multiple copies of this and you knew that you had to have a specific copy. Then you would go down here and click this radio button. And then we have a bug in the system, so we need to state where we want to pick it up. So that would be obviously your library where you would want to pick this up. And once we did that, then we can place hold. And there are buttons for each type of hold. But yes, we have to declare where we're going to pick that item up at, which is, you know, obviously probably going to be your school. And I'm going to uncheck. We got it back here. Now again, this is the patron. Since I entered this patron's name, this is who the hold is. This will tell you the priority. In this case, since I'm the only one who's going to have a hold on this, I'm number 1. In other cases, you will have an item that there may be a long list, and this will show you what position in the hold queue this hold's going to take. If you need to leave any notes about this hold, the next thing is the pickup here. This one will default to your library. In this case, I'm at Plum Creek, so it defaulted to me. Now, if there's a hold that someone needs in a time frame, you can enter that time frame when the hold starts and when the hold expires, or when they, it's known that they will no longer need this item after a certain date. Again, hold next available item. And holds to place. What this means is, in this case, a number one is I'm placing one hold on this title. A reason for more than that is, say a teacher was needed multiple copies of an item. You would enter if they needed 10 copies or 15. Obviously, it depends on how many copies are in the system. There's only one here, so that's all we're going to get. But this would be used to order multiple copies of the same item. This bottom one is for a non-priority hold. I don't think you're going to need to worry too much about that one. So we're going to go ahead and place this hold. So now, once again, we are on that item record, and we are on the holds tab here. And this shows our patron, the date's placed, when it starts, which is the date we placed it. There's no expiration date for this. Pickup location, type of hold. Again, this is next available rather than item specific. Here is your cancel button if you need to cancel this hold. I don't know if you'll have use for this, but this is if the public libraries use this for example, if someone's going on vacation, so they know they're not going to be around to get that book if they're in a holds queue to get it. So you can suspend the hold. If someone's going on vacation, the day they come back, if they're coming back on September 14th, then they'll re-enter the holds queue again. But what'll happen when it's suspended is then their place in the holds queue will be given up to the next person. And once again, they will re-enter the holds queue when the hold is unsuspended. Okay, that is the way to place a hold from a title. Now the next way to place a hold is from a patron record. That's what this button here is for, search to hold. Once we click that, we're going to do the same thing. In this case, it's going to take us to the advanced search page. We're just going to enter our subject there. Okay, now this took us right to this item because this is the only book in the system that's about Drupal in any way, shape, or form. So in this, we should probably do something else because something I want to show. Let's just no, this will return a lot of results. And sometimes I wonder about the relevance because I have the exact title in there, but we're going to, and we're going to go to the book. This would be a case of, since there are books, there are DVD movies, I'm sure there are audios in here too. If we wanted to limit by book to get our results down a little bit, now we're down to 5 results. And in this case, we're going to choose this one, which again, you can see it has a lot of items in the system. Now, what you'll notice here is before, when we did it from just a basic search, it had a place hold here. But in this case, since we searched to hold from this patron's record, we now have the ability to simply click this. And I'm not going to do it yet because I want to show you how it displays the items on the next page. But yeah, we have the link here now to place that hold for that specific patron. And those are DVDs. Here's the one. This is the one I want. 64 items, 57 available. Okay. So here's that title, and here are all of the copies available. One thing I'll quick point out is we have the novelist, which will give you additional information and stuff about, for example, this will give you series information. Here are other books in the series. It will also give you read alikes, similar titles, similar authors, similar series you can explore. Here you can use these descriptions to click on and get more ideas. Ratings and reviews, Goodreads, this, whoops, measurement, and accelerated reader scores. And you also get award winners if the item has. But this content will vary based on the title. But just to let you know, it is there if you choose to explore it. And again, we are seeing all these titles. We're going to pay attention to the status column here. As you can see, will show whether it's checked out or it's available. In some cases, it's not for loan. Here, it's not clear why it isn't for loan. But again, this is a quick way to check status. You can see it from the previous page, but in this case, with this many available copies, this is going to be more reliable than this, because we can see we get 4 checked out here and 3 unavailable at the bottom. But let's go back there one more time to the individual. Again, here's our place hold button. And we've got 2 options. And because we did the search to hold from this patron's account, we have the option to place the hold directly for them. And again, our hold place or hold options screen. Again, we're defaulting to the next available copy. This would be a case if a teacher needed 10 copies or 12 copies or whatever. It's just going to go through and put those copies on hold as they're available, based on their availability. And once again, here is our hold specific. So if you needed a specific copy for a reason, you would click that. And then you would click your library to pick it up at. In this case, we are here. That's for item specific, but we're not going to do item specific. We're going to do next available. Again, priority, we're number one. No one else has this item on hold. So we're going to place that item. And again, this is giving us our place in the queue and the option to delete here. But I'm going to recommend using this cancel button to cancel that hold. There is another way of canceling a hold, and we will do that next here. We will go to this patron's record. And we can also cancel the hold from this record. Now, in this case, I've got, this patron has 3 holds. It's a little bit different at the patron record than it is from the item record. There's a cancel button. Here, we have to choose cancel, yes. In this case, we have cancel marked holds. And we are going to cancel that because otherwise this, excuse me, a library would be picking that out from its holds queue and sending that to us if I did not cancel that hold within a few minutes. So back to the holds queue. Again, from here, we can suspend all these holds if necessary, and then resume all suspended holds. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions? Okay. We are going to go to okay. Now, on the circulation page, we have holds, and we have something called the holds queue, and that's something that needs to be checked every day that you're open. In this case, it's going to default to your library. There's some additional things if you need to filter by item type, shelving location. Otherwise, if you don't worry about these things. That was a new feature just added. Now, this is my holds queue for Plum Creek. This is what I would need to go to the shelf and pick. You're probably going to have a longer list of things. And again, this starts out with the title, collection, item type, and your call number, and your shelving location is in italics here. Some libraries use a copy number if they have multiple copies of an item. This generally is not used. Here's the barcode, and this shows us from our holds queue here what type of hold this is. And in this case, it's asking for you to pick this number or any available. That's a next available hold. So go ahead and pick this item. That will satisfy the hold. This will be where it's being sent to. And this is the date the hold was placed. And if there were any notes about the hold, we saw that field earlier, they would appear here. Okay, so what we did now, you can print this. One way of doing that is hitting Control P. This automatically goes to the receipt printer, which is not what we want. We choose a different printer, then we can see this is what it'll look like printed out. Obviously, you can print that. That would be a great way to put it in your hand when you're going to the shelf. Another way to get it in another would be to print it or export it to Excel, print it from there. You can open this in Excel as well. I know some of you use Google Docs. That's probably your better option for that. But anyway, we have gone out to the shelf and we have picked this item up. So the next thing that when we process the holes we've picked off the shelf, then we want to go to check-in. And you can either go up here to the multi-purpose bar or back to circulation and check in. So we will check this item in. Okay, boom, there is our alert that this is on hold. Again, it's on hold for this patron, patron type, their address, phone number, email. This type of stuff you won't need to worry about because you're not using, students' emails, things like that. So you'll need to contact the student once their hold is available. And again, the item was not checked out, so you're going to see this message. Now you have three options here. Confirm hold, which obviously is what we want to do. For libraries using receipt printers, which I don't believe you are, same thing, but it will print a slip. Try not to ignore the hold. I know I did earlier because we weren't quite ready for all this information yet. But unless there's something really drastic, please just confirm the hold. So now again, we get a table for this item that we've checked it in, and this will make that item ready for delivery. So once you've checked it in and confirmed that hold, it's ready to go in delivery. If it's going to another library, if it's for your student there, obviously it just goes on the hold shelf ready for pickup. But when I say it's ready for delivery, that means it's going to another library. It's ready to be put into a bag to that library. And I will just add here quickly, when putting items in this in delivery, if it's to another school, please use the word school on it. We're having trouble with people not putting that there. So sometimes if there's a school library and a public library in the same town, it will go to the public library when it was supposed to go to the school library. So please be very specific about where an item is going to. Okay.
Joel,
Yes.
when I go in and check under my holds screen,
Okay.
it never tells me that I have any that are on hold. And I have had a few last year. And the only reason I knew it is a student grabbed it off the shelf and wanted to check it out.
Okay.
It was the only copy in the system.
Okay.
So, is there something that I need to do differently or?
Well, after we're done here, I will check settings.
Okay.
And then I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if there's ever a problem or anything like that, let me know right away.
Okay.
And that's for everybody. If there's a problem with holds. Okay, now there's something that's changed here because we're back to this patron's record. Now it shows this message in green that a hold is waiting for them. And so that means it's ready for them to pick up. So in this case, you can let the student know, hey, your book is here. You could pick that up. And it can be then checked out to that patron. Now, the holds queue That's refreshed every hour from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's recommended, and we would like you, if possible, to check that every day, at least once, to run that holds queue. Okay, are there any questions on holds? Okay. The next section on here is for circulation messages. We kind of went through that already. You can add the message here. You can delete it. We're going to go on to patron management. Now, again, this is from this is what this multi-purpose bar looks like when you're, in circulation. You can check out, obviously type their name in, scan their barcode, you can check in, you can renew, and you can search the catalog. Now we're going to go to the patron section, because this is where we're going to be able to add a new patron. Now you can see this multi-purpose bar has slightly changed because it's giving us the search patrons here, front and center. So to add a patron, first of all, we have some rules as far as how we enter patrons' names. And in this case, for you, this list will not be this long. In my case, I've got access to all these different things. You're going to have elementary students, high school students, and probably middle school students, and somewhere there is faculty, school faculty. There we go. So we need to pick one of those. In this case, we'll just pick a high school student. Now on the name, when public libraries register new patrons, they do their names in all caps. For schools, for you can do it normally, just like that. Now we have some fields in here that are required for certain reasons. Because of privacy type things, I'm going to say, and Elizabeth, you can comment on this as well, is you may just pick a common birth date rather than actually entering that student's real birth date. Again, for reasons of privacy. Again, these three up here are required in this section. That's the patron identity. Patron guarantor, we do not need to worry about that. Here's our addresses. And again, I'm going to say, because of patron privacy, especially because these are minors, I would say put the school's address in here. These are required because sometimes if they're not required, people won't put this information in there. So basically, if one of these fields is empty and you hit save, it will tell you, hey, you need to put something in there. And again, I would recommend putting the school's phone number in here. The rest of this stuff you don't need to fill in. Unless you really want to. Now, when you give a new student a card, you will scan their barcode into here. Now, this will default to the library you're at. And we already chose high school student, so we're good there. Today's date is the registration date. Expiration date, the auto calc is 3 years. If you know a student's only going to be there 1 year, maybe simply put put the date, the end of the next school year or into the summer, whatever. So then that patron's card expires once they're no longer in the system. Now, these are notes. As you remember, let's see. On a patron's record, here are where notes show up. And they show up in red. Again, anything in red here needs your attention. The green here does too, but in this case, green is good. This is where you would enter that note. In this case, you don't need to worry about this one because most of your students aren't logging into their catalog accounts. But this would be the circulation note. In that case, in this patron's record, edit. And that was entered in here. And this message displays when checking out to this patron. Again, you may have a reason to put it there. Notes are less specific than messages. Messages tell you who, when the message was placed. Again, since they're not logging into their OPAC accounts, we don't need to worry about this. Again, this is for publics. And yeah, once the required information is entered, you can hit enter that one. As far as entering new patrons, are there any questions on any of these?
So if I have a parent, because I work with both middle school and high school. So I've got a 6th grade parent that says, I don't want my daughter checking out these books. Is that where I would put the notes?
Yes, either there or a message would work too.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want that to stay there without somebody having to literally go into this record and remove that message, yeah, you could put that here, and then it would be, again, if somebody wanted to remove that message, they would literally have to go in here
Okay.
to remove it versus this note versus a message, which once you enter one of those, it's got a delete
Okay.
link right there.
Okay.
I have a question, Joel.
Sure.
Would you prefer when the seniors leave, do you prefer us to delete their accounts, or can we edit their accounts for the new kindergartners coming in and edit it with the new kindergartner's name and birth
I'd much
date?
rather that you deleted those.
Okay.
And if there's a large number, send me that list. And I can have those bulk deleted
Okay.
rather than you having to go through and delete 20 or
Delete each
30
one.
students. If it's only 2 or 3, yeah, go ahead and do that on your own. But if you've got a decent sized list, then yeah, go ahead and send that to me.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
And yes, it would be very much helpful each year when the seniors graduate if I got the list of the seniors. Sometimes I don't. So what we do every 6 months is we delete patrons who have not had any activity on their card and who don't owe any money or have any items checked out. If they're inactive for 3 years, we delete them. So in this case, we just did a deletion a few weeks ago, and we were deleting patron cards that expired in 2019.
Wow. That brings me to another question. We unfortunately have a few students that for some reason tend to move away or change schools, and then they come back again, and then they leave again, and then they come back again. With those students, if they leave and I delete their account, am I able to retrieve it again, or do I have to start over from scratch?
You would have to start over. Do you have any way of, even guessing that they may leave and come back?
Not always, no,
Okay.
but the only reason I know this is because there's a history of it during elementary. So
Okay.
with the few I have in my mind, so I'm kind of like, well, so those I probably would just leave in the system then, and
Yes.
until they are supposed to age out of the system.
Right.
Okay.
Either their accounts will be automatically deleted once they're 3 years old with no activity,
Okay.
or yeah, they'll get deleted by that process eventually, because yeah, we can't, if they meet that criteria of 3 years of inactivity and no fines, no items, we can't specify that they stay unless we renew their card or change the date there. So yeah, if you have that suspicion, do they complete the full school year, or is it in the middle of a year, or?
Well, it has varied depending on the student/student family.
Okay.
So, and it's, I mean,
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
guess I would
student, but
leave those in there.
okay.
The ones to either delete yourself or to send to me are the ones you definitely know are leaving and not coming back.
Okay.
That would
Good
be
enough.
graduating seniors, stuff like that.
Okay. And then that brings me to another question. Do you know if you got a list of seniors from Pipestone High School for
I
last
have
year?
not recently, no.
Okay, I will go through and compile a list for you.
Okay. And I could show you how to run a report of that too. That will
Oh,
just
that'd be
give you
perfect.
that. I may have to dig a little bit. I've got a couple common reports I'll go through with you. But we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
Any questions, comments? Okay, we are now going to move along to fines. I'm going to see, I've got a couple of test patrons with some fines here. Not anymore. Well, this guy's got a credit. You can see a lot of messages here. You'll know immediately if a student's card is expired. There's a link to renew, or if you need to, edit the full record, edit details. If you click on that one, yes, it'll edit the full record. Cancel, it takes you back. So yes, this patron, he's expired. He's got a credit. In other words, he's got a plus $25 here. Again, this is a test patron. Here are messages. They're self-explanatory. But what we're going to look at here, and here's what it looks like from their, since expiration stops them from checking out materials, that checkout box is not here. Now we're going to look at the accounting tab. And that will, it will automatically go to this make a payment. And also if they have a fine here rather than a credit, there'll be a direct link to pay that fine. Oops, hit the wrong one here, which is this make a payment. Transactions, this will show you what happened. In this case, I gave them a credit because they were mistakenly charged a long time ago, this non-resident fee. Here we have a lost item, which is probably, well, it's going to be the only charge you're going to see is when a student loses an item. These are color coded. Red means it's a fine. This means it's a credit. And in this case, I wrote off that $550. I'm just going to add something in here because so we can see how to get rid of these. If you need to make a manual invoice, the system itself will charge an overdue, or not an overdue, a replacement fee to the patron's account after an item is due for 68 or overdue for 68 days. Once it reaches that point, it will automatically charge them the replacement price of the book. If in some cases in the records, a library doesn't put a replacement price, it can't charge one if there's no price there. But anyway, we're doing a manual invoice for this lost item. If you were actually doing a manual invoice for something they lost, it'd be helpful to scan in the barcode of the item or copy and paste it. Let's see. From here, because yeah, we can copy and paste barcodes here. So yeah, if it's something that you don't have access to scan, you can copy and paste it. Oh, I thought. Okay, so this will look just like it was, an automatic lost item charge, $15. So actually, in your case, these are students who are gone that you're never ever going to get that $15 from them.
Some of them. I've got 22 students right now on my current attendee list. Well, now it's down to 20.
Okay.
So they still go here. Parents have been notified and they're just not making the payments.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got another list of like 13 other students who are no longer here.
Okay. The ones that are just not paying, I would leave this on forever until they pay or they go away. I don't know what else you would actually do with that.
How do you do the write-off? I've had a couple offers from like our PTO or from like a Kiwanis club in town,
Okay.
and also from a ladies' aid group to pay these fees. So if somebody else pays them, how do I indicate that?
Okay, someone will actually pay this charge?
Yes.
Okay, in that case, from here, and I'll have to check your permissions. You may not have permissions to handle these things. I'll double check that. But yeah, if cash in hand, then you use the pay.
Okay.
Now, if you would use the write-off for the ones who are gone and you're never going to see them again.
Okay.
That would be the write-off one.
Okay.
And both will act the same. It will remove the charge. But in this case, the pay, yes. If someone's giving you money, you want to use the pay option.
Okay.
And that will keep track of the fact that this patron has paid or had their book charge. Now in this case, this is the guy who had the credit. Most of the time you're not going to see this button here. This whole row here will not be there. But yeah, let's see. Let's go back to his. And here's an example of, since they have a charge now, there'll be a direct to make a payment, or if these are multiple charges for multiple items, in that case, they'll be listed here as multiple items. I only just created this one for 15, but say they had 2 more for 15, there'll be separate entries. And you'll have these actions for all of them. And you'll also down here have the, they can pay a certain amount on them if it's less than the total. Otherwise, if you select them, you can pay selected. You can write off all if they have a lot of them, or write off selected. Again, the write-offs would be, they're gone, you're never going to see them again. There's really no hope of ever collecting that replacement charge. But cash, yeah, we want to do it this way. And this pay selected, that's in case, you know, they don't pay the whole bill. If let's say there were 3 items at $15, and they say, well, I've got $15 now, and you check that one and pay. We'll just go ahead and do that now. So this is the description of what it is. This is the amount being paid. And amount tendered, this will make change for you if you need that. Change to give. Payment type, cash, it's the only option. Otherwise, if you have questions on paying stuff or whatever, obviously send me an email. We'll sort it out.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my advice on the ones that you're never going to see again. Yeah, just write those off. That way, that until that fine is off there, that student cannot be deleted.
Right.
Because they've got a balance. Okay, any other questions on fines, payments? Okay. We are going to go ahead and go to reports. And let's go here. Here's your navigation button. Your real common activities are going to be up here. Your home is going to have reports here. Otherwise, you can get there from here. So yeah, we're going to go there. Once you go to reports, then you, under guided reports, you want to click this Use Saved. And here we go. These are all the reports. This tab is every report. We've got 425 entries. These break them down into categories. And I picked out a couple common reports. And you can search for a report by its number, which is the easiest way. In this case, it's number 254. Now, we have found that the peculiar thing about this is we've done this search, but this is going to stay. It's going to persist. So once you've done your search and got your result, clear that out of there. Otherwise, you're going to be limited by that $254 for everything you do. I found that out the hard way. Okay, in this case, here's our RD. Here's our name search stats by shelving location. It belongs to the circulation tab right here. Notes basically explains, what the report does. Show circulation actions and totals by shelving locations. Circulation actions, we're talking about checkouts and renewals. The only thing here is a good place. I'm going to demonstrate this column function here. I'm going to get rid of that one. And we really don't need the cache expiry either. This will even things up. But yeah, this is the one we want to run. So you can either click run and run it in this window. What I find more helpful is to right click it and open it in a new tab. So here's the information needed to run this report. So again, it wants to know what time frame do you want the checkouts from and renewals. In this case, I'm just going to say January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, the first 6 months. And then pick your branch and run the report. By running reports, you can't ever, reports only show information, they don't perform any actions. But the one thing I will say about reports is please only run report at a time. There are some that do take a lot of system resources. So here's the result of our the first 6 months, the checkouts and renewals from that school. And not sure why, but it does not order them alphabetically. This empty one here means an item just didn't have a value for shelving location. In this case, they checked out 83 items that did not have value here. These show the actual code rather than the description, but AD fiction, adult nonfiction, biography, these are all pretty YA, young adult. Now to get this downloaded to your computer, you can do most common comma separated text. In my case, my default is Excel, so I've downloaded it. So it's going to open that in here, and here you can do sorting, highlighting. This column is your totals of each, but you may want to, do the total or the total of all those actions for that period. So I'm just going to close this. Most of the time there'll be multiple pages, and I will say it's much easier to download it into Excel or another spreadsheet program rather than navigating the pages here, because there'll be a delay between each page. So if you download it, you have instant access to all this information, where if you're doing page by page, it's going to take a few seconds to go between pages. It's much quicker to download it. But this is a common one that your school may needs to know how much you're checking out. This shows you how many you're checking out, what types of stuff you're checking out. The other one I have is we can go back to save reports here. We can go to reports. What I'm going to say is avoid the rest of this stuff. We don't use this in the system very much. They're just prefab stuff. We get a lot better results by using the saved reports that are here. And here this illustrates I'm still stuck with 254, even though I've gone away from that screen. So I've got to clear that. And now I'm going to do 555, which is another, and this is another list of patrons with overdue items. That was not what I wanted to do. And we're going to go ahead and run this one. And this one, obviously, your branch. And here, based on your, whatever is overdue for you. So if you have a 7-day checkout period, you can do 8 days, 9 days. That's going to be considered overdue. So anything past whatever your circulation rule says, and for most of you, it's 7 days. So we'll do 9 here. Okay. So here's a case of having multiple pages. This will tell you the student's barcode number, and of course, people are always begin with a 2, items begin with a 3. So here's your student's barcode, their name. This gives you the date due of the item that's listed here, the number of days overdue. We've got some seriously overdue ones that they're probably not going to get that replacement price paid. Title of the item, author, call number, barcode, who this belongs to. The big thing here, if the item belongs to you, you can handle the the charging of the price, getting the money or whatever. If the item belongs to another library, it's very important that they receive the replacement price for the item. And every library, yes, it is every library's responsibility. There isn't a time frame on it, but as quickly as possible that they receive the replacement charge if someone has lost, if you've lost one of their books, because that means they can go and buy another one. And obviously, you're probably, if it was checked out a week ago and it's overdue a week, you're probably not yet going to collect this money. But it is very important that the owning library be reimbursed for something that's lost.
That brings me to a question. I noticed on your up at the top here, you've got card number, surname, first name, due date, days overdue. Am I able to organize this by the days overdue?
Yep.
Okay.
You would go ahead and download it.
Okay. And then do it. Okay.
Yep. You can then days overdue. Yeah, you'll have to stretch out these columns and stuff, or
Correct.
yeah.
I figured, okay, yeah, I can do it in
Yep.
Excel. I just didn't know if I could do it on here too or not. So,
Yep. Smallest to largest, largest to smallest.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I recommend is, that you arrange this, whatever way you need it. However you need the information displayed.
Okay.
One thing I'll quickly add here is, for some reason, Excel has this problem displaying card numbers by default. So what you do there is select the whole column, right click, and you've got format cells here. For some reason, it doesn't format those as numbers. So we want to go here and format them as numbers, and then the decimal places, take that down to 0.
Am I the only one that can't see the Excel sheet you're on?
I can't see it.
I
Okay.
can't see it.
Yeah, we're not able to see it for some reason.
Okay, that's probably because of the screen we're sharing. New share.
And then can you show us again how you made this report, this list of patrons with overdue items?
Okay. Okay, can everybody see this Excel now?
Yes.
Okay. So we did that there with the patron card number. We have to do the same thing with the barcode number. We have to right click it, format cells, change it to number, and then pull a decimal down to 0 places. And then we get our regular card number.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we are going to be done with this one. I'm not going to say this. Obviously, you probably will need to. Oh, no, go back to screen sharing. Okay, can everybody see this again? List of patrons with overdue items.
Yes.
Okay. So you wanted to see how we did that again?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we're basically at guided reports. And in what I sent out yesterday, there will be a report section. The one I'm using as a reference here does not have a report section. But these two reports will be listed there with their number. In this case, we'll do 555 again. And so we have list of patrons with overdue items. Go over to the run. I like to open a new window for a report. So right click on the run and open link in new tab. And my Zoom thing is covering up my navigation here. Okay. Oh, that wasn't. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we're for the parameters we want to run for this list of patrons with overdue items. So choose your branch. I think we selected this one. We try a different one. Maybe somebody else has some more. And again, days overdue, whatever is past your circulation. Again, a lot of you, that's 7 days. I'm going to do 10 for clarity's sake. So we know what's overdue. So again, here is our output. We've got a couple of pages here. It looks a little different because there's enough information that forces a second line into here. Again, we've got same columns. Batch operations with 20 visible records, ignore that. If you do want to see the entire report, in this case it's 36, rather than doing the page by page, you can just rows per page, you can change that to 50, and now you can see every result of the report. Now again, download and comma separated values. My default is Excel. Yours may be Google Sheets. And again, we'll open that up. Same thing here with you can't see me, my spreadsheet can. Now you can. Same thing here, we want to format those cells. Decimal placed down to 0, numbers. That will give you your barcodes. Okay, questions on reports?
I have a question about the fines just a second ago. If I have a student that's lost a book, but it has been paid, but it's still checked out to that person because it's lost, how do I get it to come off of their, like,
It should come off when you pay the fine. It should.
okay.
If it doesn't, let me know.
I have one that didn't.
Okay. But yeah, send that to me in an email and I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
And then you said something about being able to run a report on
Yep.
inactive students.
Yep. Patrons. Well, let's give these away expired. Okay, you have some options here. We're gonna try 151 and see. Okay. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. Okay, can everybody see this one? List expired patrons by branch.
Yes.
And you are
Minders.
yeah, you're gonna have a mixed list here. But you can sort it.
Okay.
Now this one's gonna ask for the year they were expired. I'm going to try a different one. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna get a list of public patrons as well as, but they can be sorted by, let's. Okay. Okay, here we go. So yeah, you're gonna get you've got 113 results here. So what we want to do is we want to download that. Okay, Elizabeth, I hid my controls and now I don't seem to get them back.
I will see if I can come help you.
Okay. Yeah, until I change the screen share, you won't be able to see this. Yeah, they were completely in my way here, so I saw hid and now I can't get them back.
Okay, well, your Zoom window over here, if you click on your participants area,
did
can
not
you
think-
unhide from there? So there. Put your Zoom window.
I think I closed. Well, no, it should be here.
I couldn't have closed it because you're still
I'm sure there's a key.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Sorry about this, guys. It'll just take a second to.
Minor
figure out what happened.
snafu here.
Oh, I didn't even- So what about this arrow over on the library?
Yeah, that's just.
Can I try something real quick?
Sure.
Thanks. I'm gonna give it a 30-second. So were you opening the app or were you opening a window?
I opened it in the blind smoke.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah, never hide your
Yeah,
control bar in Zoom because you can't get it back again.
yeah, I don't know where it would have gone. What does everyone see on the screen right now?
We just see the Koha expired patrons with fines.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my last year.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can reclaim the hosting from my site. And Joel, if you just want to,
All the same.
yeah.
Well, in the meantime, what you'll need to do on that. I know you can't see it right now, but the expired patrons, this will show if they have fines too. But the big thing you want to know is if they're expired. The first row category code, you're going to want to sort by that.
Okay.
In my case, I'll do it alphabetically. So interesting. This might be a bigger problem than I may have to do. Well, everything shows up as either Plum Creek resident or Plum Creek resident juvenile.
Okay.
And because that's the high school, so you should. Well, see that's the gray area in the public and school library combined.
Yep. And I it's fine because I can actually just compile a list of my former seniors
Okay.
through another program and then just email that to you.
Okay.
And then that way you can go through but then I don't, I guess I don't know what the policy is, for our public library is, do they just keep the students in the system for indefinitely? Because a lot of these students, they graduate, go to college and come back.
Right. And the fact that I'm not seeing any expired student ones leads me to believe that they don't have student accounts.
Okay.
So they would act like regular accounts, as long as they're a juvenile up until
Screen that's currently being shared, which is your Koha screen.
Yep.
Should be a way to unshare it. I'm not seeing it. You might have to log into Zoom again. Because right now, It should be under this. Right there, but I can't reclaim control.
Oh. Okay, well,
It won't let me.
so I'm gonna, if I want to leave,
End meeting. Oh, leave
Leave.
meeting.
Okay.
Now assign me as the host.
um,
Or make Barb the host. And then sign back. Actually, if you can find me, I'm under.
Yeah, that's-
concrete.
yeah, I'm not seeing that.
I wonder what that is.
Well, it seems like it should be movable, but
Yeah,
it's not movable. Wait,
there I am.
there.
Okay. Okay, is everyone still here?
Yep.
Okay, Joel is logging back in. Hopefully that will fix his screen share problem. So should just be a minute.
Technology is wonderful when it works.
Well, you know, we do the best we can with what we've got.
I know, I
Yep.
know.
I think we've all been exactly here.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I think we've all been here where all
Oh,
of a
yeah.
sudden-
Yeah, it's very frustrating on the other person, you know, like your side of things. It's I get it.
There he is. We'll see. Joel, are you able to see everything again now?
Let me, no, well, hang on, here we go.
Okay,
Yep.
and I'll reassign you as the host then.
Well, yeah, I'm disabled as the screen sharing is disabled, but we'll go back.
Okay, is it working now? I just switched it over.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay, this is the report we just ran for Minders. And yeah, you've only got Plum Creek resident, you've got one non-resident that's expired. But yeah, I guess I would talk to Jody about, it seems that they're just registering everybody as public card holders. And I'm not sure how you would make the distinction. Elizabeth, any input on Minder's unique situation as far as patrons?
They could create a heading in front of the names or in the names. I guess that would be an option. I would reach out to Jody. She probably knows if there is anything like that.
Okay.
But I know that you can create a different last name. So every last name was school.
Okay.
And the first name was the first and last name of the library user. So
Okay.
James Smith School or something along those lines.
Okay. Well, I know, and I'm sure you're aware of the situation with what we're dealing with, so.
I think
Yeah.
right now they're all listed as public library patrons and they're registered through the public library. In the past, the school has not done the patron registration side of it.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that would be the easiest option to separate those.
Okay.
I
All
guess
right.
at the moment, I would probably not do anything until whatever's gonna happen happens.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I'm just trying to. Well, first
yeah,
of all, I
just-
didn't know it was set up like this at all. So
Okay.
I'm learning as we go here.
Okay, yeah, everybody's registered as a public patron.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, you actually, you're in a position where you don't really have to worry about graduating seniors because they've got a public account. If they don't come back, it will be deleted, but if they do come back, it will still be there as a public library account.
yep, okay, that's what we were wondering, and everything
Yeah,
else we'll deal with when the time comes.
Okay. Let's see. All right, we're running a little bit longer than I intended. Do we have any more questions or comments about reports? You think you're comfortable with, and you can use this at your school too, this 459, to find your expired student list.
Thank you for helping me with that.
Sure, no problem. I think I'm going to run this for a different school. And that will show us, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this one was miscategorized, but yeah, here's, and these people are all here because they have balances. That's the only reason they're there. You don't have any other expired patrons, but these because they have balances. And yeah, it's up to you how you handle these things. Let's see. Let's try Hendrix. Everybody seeing the reports I'm running here?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not able to, when I went to download, like I don't have the choice to put it in Excel. So I messaged our IT department to download Excel for me, but I'm not sure what's wrong there. I can't get that
Okay.
to print.
This is Ashley, right?
Yes.
Okay. It'll do the, I guess it's what your computer is set up to use as a default spreadsheet.
Okay.
I thought it would be Google Docs since you sent me spreadsheets in Google Sheets, but it may not. I guess it's whatever your computer considers its default spreadsheet program.
Okay.
That's what it should open up in. In other places, you get the Excel option as well. In this case, I get Excel because that's my default spreadsheet program. But yeah, here we're looking at Hendrix here, and it looks like you've got quite a number.
Yeah, I pulled that first report and there was 173, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm just trying to play catch up now.
Okay. Well, this one, number 459, shows 62.
Yeah, the 555 report showed a bigger.
Okay. Yeah, that would include current students with overdue items as well. But yeah, the easiest thing to do is to download this into whatever your spreadsheet program and then sort and filter as needed.
Okay.
So it sounds as though everybody's comfortable with these reports. There are a lot more, but if you need something specific, can't find it, or just let me know and I'll point you in the right direction. Or if it's something we don't have, I'll get it added.
Okay.
Any questions overall?
I'm wondering how to add, and this is probably a totally different training, but I've got boxes of books that have been donated to our library.
Yeah, that's for Barb's training.
What to do with them? Okay.
The one thing I will mention as far as records, and if you are, let's say this book is on your on your pick list and you've gone to the shelf and you can't find it. Now, in this case, this is the only copy here, but when you click on edit items, you'll see a list like this. If you cannot find that book, and there are other copies in the system, and this is especially important if there are other copies in the system. Like this is your record. We want to go to actions and edit that. We want to change the lost status to missing. That will cause the hold to move on to the next copy in the system. So if it's not missing, it's going to latch onto that item and it's going to stay there until the hold is filled. But if you change that item to missing, that will cause the holds queue to move on to another available copy. And right now, most of you will not have anything in your holds queue because your holds are off. Minneota, Sandy, I believe yours are on. I'm going to go to circulation, holds queue. You can see holds queues from other libraries as well. So I'm going to do Minneota schools. Yes, you have 24 holds. Wow. And I'm looking at this barcode column. These are all next available. And again, the Sun 2. Some of these are older ones. This looks like it was placed in 2020. Yeah, if holds are never filled, they'll just kind of stay there. They should expire, but I'm finding that they're not. Most of these are new, but there's a couple of old ones in there. Okay, so double checking, did everybody get the Koha instructions for school staff?
Yes.
The Word doc.
Yes.
Okay. If anybody doesn't, just email me and we pretty much went through everything that's on there, so that will be your guide. Otherwise, if you have questions, issues, email me and we'll try to sort things out for you. That's all I have. And Clorinda, I've got a couple things to check out for you. Anna Lee, your holds are not showing, your holds queue is not showing. And Ashley, I think we covered fines. If you have any more trouble, let me know. I'll check your settings
Okay.
to make sure you can do those things with fines.
And then
Sounds
I don't believe I have a username or a password for Koha yet.
You are correct.
Okay.
Actually, you should be able to, it's usually like Pipestone Tech 5 or 6.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The username is Pipestone Tech and they're numbered, and usually the school is like Pipestone Tech 5 or 6. Jody will have the passwords for those.
Okay.
So yeah, she will give you your username and password because she changes her passwords from time to time.
Okay. All right, I will get that from her tomorrow when I see her.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate all your time and help.
Yep, you're welcome. So I think that's it, unless Elizabeth, if you have anything to add.
No, I was just looking into whether or not Google Sheets would work for downloading those reports, and I'm not finding the answer, but I will reach out and see if we can come up with more information. I think that was Ashley that was asking about that.
yes.
Okay, I think there's another librarian who uses Google-based products, so I'll reach out to her and find out if she has an answer for us.
Thank you.
Joel, would you
Yes.
like, explain to them what they are supposed to do when they have the only item that has a hold?
Oh, in a sense, if they have the only item with a hold, can you give me a little more detail?
Well, they can't mark it missing because then
Oh.
it's just gonna sit there.
Oh, yeah, then the hold, that's a good point. I did not think of that one. Yeah, if you have the only item in the system, and let me see if I've got let's go to that. So I'm thinking they should probably alert the library the hold is placed at and have them let their patron know that they have to cancel that hold. I'm assuming that's, because yeah, if this were the only copy and you can't find it, changing it to missing, unfortunately, will, since there are no other copies in the system, the hold will just hang there with attached to nothing. So if you are not able to find the copy or your copy of the only item in the system, then I would contact the library the hold the patron placed is from and let them know that you cannot, that copy is missing. And then they can go and cancel that hold so it doesn't stick there all the time.
Now, was there another training this afternoon?
Barb, are you doing any training?
We will have to set up a one-on-one get together for catalog training. I don't know if you would want to come down to the office. I prefer to do it in person.
Okay. I mean, I guess I didn't know that. If I didn't.
Yeah, it's easier. It's just too complicated to try to do that through Zoom.
Right. What time does it start?
I don't have anything set up for you.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
All right.
Barb, what I'll do is I'll send you Clarinda's email and then you
Okay.
can go back and forth and set something up. That way you'll have her email right away too.
All right.
Thank you, Joel.
Yep. So yeah, if you, as far as catalog training, yeah, you'll have to contact Barb and set up a one-on-one session.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And that's for everybody. If you know, if you just need a refresher or you're just starting out, let Barb know and you can set something up.
Perfect.
Okay, in the chat. Okay, yep, we did that. Okay, that is it for me. Thanks everybody for attending. And we'll hear from you later.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Joel.